Welcome to A Jew, a Muslim, and a Christian. My name is Father Michael Manning. I am a Catholic Christian.
And I'm Hillel Cohn, a rabbi.
And my name is Imad Bayoun, a Muslim imam.
One of the topics that is very important as we try to come together as Jews, Muslims, and Christians is the challenge of what it means to be a missionary, what it means to be a person who proselytizes, trying to get others to come into their faith. It can be a source of real division and uncomfortableness. There's the question of people that perhaps are not having any religion. Well, it's okay, you can draw them, but as soon as you start touching the people that are committed to one religion and you say, hey, listen, let me invite you to come into ours, great tension can arise. Some of the ways that we can react is, well, we can just say, let's give freedom to everyone, let them do whatever they want to do, and we're not going to cause problems. Then there might be the other reaction of being very indignant and very concerned, and even if there's a great number of people in one religion and in a certain place, there could even be some laws and strong restrictions about not allowing that to happen. As a Catholic Christian, I'm saddened and I'm challenged whenever someone does leave my experience, either whether it's my religion or my denomination. But at the same time, I try as best I can to be understanding, to be accepting, and even supportive of the people, saying, oh, God has moved in their hearts, and I'm going to respect what's going on in their life. I'm wondering, how do you react to the struggle of missionary activity and even proselytizing?
Well, Father Manning, you talked about the invitation made to people who either are unchurched or who are part of one religion and inviting them. You know, there are two kinds of invitations. There's a nice, polite invitation. Would you like to be interested? Would you have any interest in what I am and what I believe in? And then there's the other kind, which takes a hammer over someone's head and says, you better accept what I am because I have the only answer, or the most legitimate, or the real answer. And I think that that's where proselytizing really gets into a dangerous area. My own experience as a Jew, there was a time, certainly in the early history of the Jewish people, when Jews were missionaries. Certainly in biblical times, Jews felt that they had a right and an obligation to be what we call an or lagoyim, a light unto the nations, and that meant bringing other people into that community so that they could help advance that concept. But I think that historically, as Jews faced a rather strong kind of missionary activity in the early days of Christianity, missionary activity and proselytizing really became a thing that Jews shied away from because of their own experiences. And we continue to experience it today. It's all based, is it not, on an assumption. And one evangelization is based on an assumption that I have the truth and you don't have the truth. That is a kind of a dangerous thing.
Well, you know, I really think that if I'm somewhere, I have to believe that what I have is the truth. And I think that's, I mean, obviously, that's the basic reason, the basic premise in there. And every person, I think, has a tendency of conveying whatever he has and then spread it or whatever. But I think the way we do it is really the problem. And I think the problem here is that, you know, whether we agree on a good way of doing it or not, it's already being done by everybody. Now everyone has access to everything, the good way and the bad way and all the other ways. I think the job, and this is, I'm talking from the Islamic perspective, is that our job is to present what we have, but there should be no compulsion in the religion. After that, it's people's choice to choose, and I think so long as that is done in a fair way. In other words, so long as my preaching or my spreading of my message does not involve demonizing the other or putting them down as if the only way I can build something is on the rubbles of somebody else's house. And I think this is the idea that I would stay away from. Is it can be done, but in a good taste. It can be done, you know, without necessarily demonizing the others, which unfortunately, like I said, this is not the way it is done. Yeah. It's already being done whether the way we like it or not.
But Imam, isn't there a difference between the true religion or the religion is true for me? And there seems to me to be a difference. My Jewish experience is true for me as a Jew. I can't say that it is the final truth for everyone, and therefore I need to do whatever I can, if I'm really a loving person, to bring you into that experience, because yours is perhaps just as legitimate for you as mine is for me.
I probably have a stronger
I look at it
commitment to what
differently.
it means to be a Christian.
Yeah,
my
same here.
commitment to Jesus is there. The question comes, how do I deal with that? Do I, well, as you were talking about being very open and understanding, you and I both know that there are some struggles going on in the world today with regard to that. And yet at the same time, as a Christian, I can look back in history and say, oh my gosh, what we did with certain movements, with crusades and with inquisitions was certainly out of line. But the challenge comes. I do believe that I have the right thing, but at the same time, I struggle with trying to make sure that I'm giving respect and honor and believing that God gives you the same honor and respect in that perspective.
Sure. I think the two issues in here is that believing that what I have is the truth is something. I have to believe that what I have is the truth. Otherwise, what am I doing here? The second thing is basically feeling the obligation of shoving it down people's throat, basically, that this is the way you have to accept. I think my job stops at presenting what I have, not presenting what others don't have. I think this is the important thing. What you said about the Crusades and, this is something that was done, of course, wrongly. But if I hear somebody saying that that's what Christianity actually stands for, I will be the first one to defend that.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I read the Bible, But the problem, I think, talking from the Islamic perspective, is that there's so much demonizing in there. And people define my religion, as well as other religions as well, based on what they see on this channel or this TV station or that website.
Extremists.
Exactly. Not just that, but some people do not present the full truth of something. It's like I said, if I say, for example, Crusaders or what the Crusaders did reflect Christianity. It does not. Yes. That's these people, and I think that's the point I'm trying to say.
In relation to both of your communities, the Christian community and the Islamic community, Jews are in a different situation because we are a minority all over. Yes. And I think that the sensitivities that minorities have to being pressured into becoming part of the majority, whether it be Islam or whether it be Christianity, has conditioned a response saying, I don't want to do that. There is, a number of years ago, one of the eminent Jewish leaders in America, who happened to be a dear friend of mine, Rabbi Alexander Schindler, proposed, at least in the Reformed Jewish community, that we engage in a more aggressive outreach kind of program. By aggressive, he didn't mean standing on street corners and passing out little tracts that oversimplify what we are. But he was saying that if we have something that is important to us, there are enough unchurched people who might be interested, and then to do it respectfully and sensitively. And Jews have a kind of an other dimension to this, that we have to replace the Jewish population of the world, which 1/3 of which was decimated during the Holocaust. And how are you going to do that other than through some kind of more active outreach program?
When we speak in generalities like this, in terms of the major movements of the religion, that's one level. The other level is the level of the family. That's where it becomes even more painful, if you will, because there are people that we know and people that we love and that we've nurtured, that they decide to move to another denomination, to another religion. That is very difficult, and that's where the challenge of acceptance and support becomes even more challenging. How do you react to that, the family dimension of that?
With difficulty. It is a difficult thing. I mean, especially I think the head of any household would like his family to follow the same kind of belief. And I think it starts basically by raising your kids according to the same principles, but I think you have to realize that at one point, your kids, once they become adult, they make their own choices, You just make the most out of what you have. I don't think that should be the basis of cutting or, ties with that person. You still can present what you have to them, but at the end, people make their own choices, If a person does not want a certain faith or a certain religion, you cannot force him into it. It is something that involves the heart, the connection with God. And this is not something that you can basically impose on somebody.
Amen.
It is a personal choice.
Good.
How do you react to the family situation?
Well, I would hope that families would have respect for one another. And that would mean allowing the other to be something else.
Yes. Thank you for listening. Please let us know what you think. God bless.